If you want to learn more about the history of each brewery and other fun things to do in Athens while on the trail, make sure to pick up a passport as you enter in the door to the first brewery. Once you've completed the trail, you can come by the Welcome Center, which is the building behind me, anytime from 10 to 5 to receive a token, like this glass, as a way to remember the All-American Beer Town. Grady Newsource, Hallie Turner. I'm Hallie Turner, and I'm outside the Capitol building here in Atlanta, where state representatives and senators are voting to pass bills before they run out of time tonight at midnight. Electric bikes require riders to pedal and, with the push of a button like this, use the 3 levels of electric assist to help on hills and longer routes like the Oconee E-Trail here in Athens. Inside these boxes that are packed by 80 volunteers weekly are non-perishable items like peanut butter, beef stroganoff, rice, and peaches, which will go to feed over 260 hungry families for the next week. Amid COVID, the Athens Convention and Visitors Bureau has an idea that would not only boost businesses after the shutdown, but that would get people more involved in the community.
And now that we have 6 local breweries in town, we really thought the time was right to try to package that.
The ACVB wanted to start with something that people could hold in their hands, like this field guide to the Athens Beer Trail. The passport contains the history of the breweries, food and drink pairings, and places to take children as well. People can start the trail at any of the 6 locations and receive a stamp after a purchase of a drink.
We are always looking for ways to take what Athens does best, a lot of the creative energy that locals are already putting out there, and finding a way to market it.
Sam Hull, who comes from Florida but lives in Athens, got to know his new city better and the history of its brews after completing the trail.
Yeah, definitely. I felt like, it reminded me of home. There's a lot of breweries in Tampa, actually, so it definitely brought some familiarity from home, and I really enjoyed the experience. It was just fun to spend time with friends and see a lot of Athens.
Smith says they are seeing a strong, positive response to the trail from locals and visitors taking part, but do not have current statistics yet.
Right, so definitely think it's a positive to help bring people back into the breweries, especially the ones that aren't as, close to downtown or aren't as, well known. I didn't even know Normal Town Brewery existed, but it was actually really cool in there, and it's a different experience.
If you want to learn more about the history of each brewery and other fun things to do in Athens while on the trail, make sure to pick up a passport as you enter in the door to the first brewery. Once you've completed the trail, you can come by the Welcome Center, which is the building behind me, anytime from 10 to 5 to receive a token, like this glass, as a way to remember the All-American Beer Town. Grady Newsource, Hallie Turner. 14-year-old Olivia Crane has overcome many challenges. She suffers from a non-treatable, non-curable genetic disorder best known as Down syndrome. Many others like Olivia with disabilities would not have been able to succeed without the extra help of their tutors and special programs that are funded by scholarships like House Bill 60. Bill Crane, Olivia's father, is pleased with legislators focusing on this need to further the educational level in Georgia where disabled students are concerned.
There are not a lot of options for very young children or for adults who have a host of needs. And so again, I'm glad to see, if not full funding, partial funding, and the state recognizing these populations.
If passed, HB 60 would create a scholarship for children who come from low-income families, have a disability, live in the state of Georgia, and are currently enrolled in a public school. Many people have told Representative Wes Cantrell, sponsor of House Bill 60, that money to enroll their child in a private school does not fix the need of their situation, but a better school program will.
HB 60, for me, is really like the holy grail of school choice, and that it gives a parent who has a child like a Down syndrome child the amount of flexibility they need.
Representative Cantrell said that HB 60 will provide more of a cafeteria approach to children with disabilities, as it will go to fund for extra tutors, programs, therapies, and online resources in which places like Extra Special People do here in Athens. Funding for each scholarship will vary depending on the child's disability, income level, and where they reside. Crane included that without the voucher, it could impact the long-term ability of those students to live an independent life.
At some point have our own place, but to get there, it's a constant need, kind of stoking the fire to keep her learning, to keep her growing, to not cause an inward turn, and all of that takes money.
Hallie Turner reporting, Grady Newsource. Food insecurity is a growing problem in America. Nearly 1 in 8 Americans lack enough access to food on a regular basis that hinders them from living a healthy life. One food bank here in Athens is working to solve this problem by providing their community with food each week. Jeff Rushing and his wife Connie lead City of Refuge Athens, a nonprofit they created 4 years ago. The food bank is now serving the highest number of families than they ever have before who cannot afford to purchase food.
Really, in the last 9 months, we've seen a significant increase in food insecurity and the lack of groceries.
In January, the food bank supplied over 5,000 people with groceries, and in March, their numbers of those in need had increased by 2,000. One of the many people they are helping is Alicia Sanford, who lost her job in January. She says that if it were not for the food bank, she would not have been able to provide for her children.
To be honest with you, we wouldn't have snacks going to school. We'd have to rely on the school to do that. And it just would put a huge damper on a lot of things. I don't even know because it's just, I would have to look elsewhere.
Each week, City of Refuge Athens serves their community through mobile drives, school drop-offs, and community delivery. The food that is given out is enough to provide that family with food to last an entire week. In April of 2020, the Rushings started out just packing 25 grocery boxes and taking them into the community. Now, 2 years later, they have approximately 60 volunteers that come in weekly to pack over 250 boxes of food. Dr. Jerry Shannon, who studies the issue of food insecurity at UGA, says that although these programs are in place to help, it will never solve the issue of food insecurity.
I think if you think about this primarily as an issue of you're trying to take a small blanket and stretch it to cover everything, you need a bigger blanket.
Rushing added that it is through their partnership with Publix and Convoy of Hope that they can continue to provide thousands of pounds of food to their community. Hallie Turner, Grady Newsource.